Welcome back to our continuing coverage of Hurricane Irma and its march toward the state of Florida. I'm Elliot Rodriguez with Vanessa Borge. We're going to take you through this next hour to bring you up to date on the storm and the preparations here in South Florida.
So we're halfway in between those two major advisories. We always look forward to that 5 p.m. and that 11 p.m. It is now 8 o'clock, so we have a new advisory as well. So we want to head over to Craig Setzer to give us some more information about where Hurricane Irma is now.
Yeah, it just came in the new advisory. I'm going to touch briefly on what's going on with the weather, and then we'll get to that new advisory. But here is the latest radar, and you're starting to, if you're looking at kind of a corner of the influence of Irma there, we're starting to see what we call the pressure gradient, which is the pressure difference between Florida and the center of the storm starting to increase. So these little showers here, they're not moving too fast. These showers, they're moving a bit faster. These showers are moving faster, and you can see this activity down here. It's flying along, moving 50, 60 miles an hour. So as this unfolds, and those of you who've been here for a long time, you know how this goes. But for those of you who haven't, this is how it unfolds. This gets closer and closer and closer. These bands keep coming through and keep coming through and keep coming through. And eventually we're going to start to see a bit of a circle down there. That will be the eye wall showing up on the radar in Miami. Now the storm is still about 300 miles away, so the radar beam only gets out to about 250 miles, so we don't expect to see the eye wall yet. But with us catching it already here, you can just, from a radar perspective, see that it's kind of a big storm. And now you can see the influence up there through central Florida as well with what's going on there. Okay, the heaviest weather right now coming onto Miami Beach, into the upper Keys. We had a shower over the lower Keys, and that is moving on out. Some of the winds, they're starting to blow a little bit harder, and even though I've got Deerfield Beach here, which is a higher elevation wind instrument, so that kind of gives us a sense of the winds higher up above the ground and the friction of the ground. The higher winds up here will give us a sense of the kind of the gusts that we will see down here on the ground as we go through this event. And then these three sites, especially these two, are what we call reef light sites, and there's a mark on a very shallow spot just offshore. This one is just southeast, 8 miles southeast of Key Biscayne. This one, Molasses Reef, is near Key Largo, just offshore there on the French Reef, and so the French Reef area, I should say. And so those are out over the water. There's no buildings, there's no trees, there's no obstructions. So as the wind picks up, these will be very representative of the wind very close to the coast. Then once you get inland, the winds drop off because the buildings and the trees and the friction slows things down. Here's Grand Bahama. This is on West End, the farthest west tip of the Bahamian island that is to our northeast. Winds now east-northeast at 25, gusting to 31. So nothing surprising here. The breeze kind of building, and you can see there Deerfield Beach coming up a bit. It's going to ebb and flow as we go through the next few hours and into tomorrow. Here's the 8 p.m. advisory. Here's the update now. As Elliot, we talked earlier, these two numbers we're watching, and I know you're taking notes, so you can write down on in your log, your entry there, what these two new values are. 22.2 north, so we were at 20 north at the 2 o'clock advisory, 20.1 north at the 5 p.m. advisory. Now we're at 22.2. So it's a little creeping up. It's not going up that fast. We were at 76 at the 2 o'clock advisory. I think we're at 76.5 at the 5 o'clock advisory, and now 77.2. So its storm is moving west. Those numbers are increasing faster than those numbers, so there's mostly a westerly component. Simple way to look at it, check out that value right there. That's the direction the storm is headed, just slightly north of west. The question becomes, is it going to make enough of a northward turn to avoid the coast of Cuba there and the core of the storm coming on? Right now, it's very, very close. In fact, part of the core is on the coast there, and if the whole system comes on shore, the whole core and the eye wall, it could be a disruption in the intensification cycle. It could also be very, very bad for Cuba there. So 315 miles now southeast of Miami, Florida. And the wind's 155 miles an hour. Haven't changed there.